to a kingdom of terrifying white and silence. This is a place where life and death are separated by a thin layer of ice. And reigning over this frozen empire is a true king. This king's day doesn't begin with royal decrees, but with a single, haunting question in his mind above the water. The uncertainty. This is the price of the crown. He travels across barren lands where life itself seems to have given up. Think of those accustomed to a solitary life. There are no greetings, no networking. Just thousands of birds panic and fly away. Eggs and refueling, our king allows himself a moment of relaxation. He rolls around and shows that even the most powerful creatures have a softer side. Rolling in the snow isn't just to clean his fur, it's a way to relieve the stress from the pressures of life and his hunting KPIs. But the relaxation doesn't last long. The vacation is over. He encounters another of his kind. This is a meeting that could lead to one of two scenarios, a fight or a friendly sparring session. The two giants begin to wrestle. This is a contest of strength, a way for them to test each other's abilities and establish a pecking order. It could be a training session, a gym session, or it could be a tense merger negotiation. The gentle nips, the playful shoves. In the world of the polar bear, this is considered an intimate conversation. They are discussing the market conditions, the difficult seal, clients, and perhaps for hours, even days. This is a lesson in stillness, about waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The entire frozen empire seems to hold its breath with him. In the last chapter, our king began a patient stakeout. And in business, as in hunting, patience is the key. He lies there, motionless, making himself a part of the ice and snow. He's not just waiting, he's meditating. He's becoming one with his environment, a single entity with the deadly silence of the Arctic. And then, that patience is rewarded. A client decides to surface right in his office. It's a seal, completely unaware that death is wearing a white fursuit and lying just a few feet away. This is the moment where all the effort, all the waiting, is decided. Boom! A lightning-fast lunge, not a single wasted motion. This is a perfect deal closing, a clean merger and acquisition. The seal had no chance to say no. The contract was signed in blood and ice. Finally, after a series of failures, our CEO has landed his first profit of the quarter. A magnificent meal on the ice. For the polar bear, this is a moment of success. But in the wild, no success goes unchallenged. News of this billion-dollar deal travels fast. The opportunists begin to appear. First come the gulls, the noisy paparazzi of the Arctic, always present at every hot spot. Next are the Arctic foxes, the cunning brokers, who always try to profit from someone else's success. They circle, waiting for any scraps to fall. But the polar bear is not a lenient CEO. He knows how to protect his assets. A growl, a sharp glance is enough to set the boundaries. The message is clear. This party is for major shareholders only. You guys are just junior staff, watch from the sidelines. After dealing with the annoying minority shareholders, he continues his meal. But a true king never rests on his laurels. He knows that one successful deal is only temporary. For his empire to survive, he must constantly seek out new markets, new opportunities. And so, he discovers a massive potential market, a beach full of walruses. These aren't just fat seals. These are true giants, the multinational corporations of the frozen world, armed with sharp ivory tusks. Approaching a walrus herd is an extremely high-risk investment. The chance of success is low, but if successful, the return would be enormous. Our CEO begins his calculations. He analyzes the risk, assesses the opportunity. His insurance probably doesn't cover being impaled by a pair of 6-foot tusks. But ambition is a powerful motivator. He decides to try his luck. The strategy here isn't a direct confrontation. It's to cause a panic, to find a weak or young individual separated from the herd. He is trying to create an internal crisis within the rival corporation. He charges in, but immediately hits a solid wall of defense. The giant walruses turn, pointing their sharp tusks at him, ready to fight. This is a board of directors that is not easily intimidated. They let out thunderous roars, a stern warning. The polar bear recognizes the situation. He has misjudged the market. This hostile takeover has failed. A smart CEO is not one who never fails, but one who knows when to cut his losses. He decides on a strategic retreat. Losing one battle doesn't mean losing the war. Failing in the walrus market, he returns to his core competency, the ocean. He is a world-class swimmer. The thick layer of fat isn't just for warmth, it helps him float like a buoy. His massive paws act as powerful paddles. He glides through the water with grace and efficiency. He can swim for dozens of miles without rest, an ability no other bear possesses. He's not just a king on land, he's a formidable force in the water. This is where he shows the flexibility of his business model. While swimming, his eyes never stop scanning for opportunities. And then he sees it again. Another seal, resting on a small ice floe, completely off guard. This is a niche market, an opportunity that only those with special skills can exploit. This time, he doesn't approach from the ice. He uses his core competency. He dives, becoming a white submarine, a living torpedo. The seal has no idea that death is approaching from below. And then, a surprise attack from under the water. A perfect tactic, giving the prey no time to react. The seal is captured. This is a profound business lesson. After failing in a large, high-risk market, return to your core market, but with a new approach, an innovative strategy. The polar bear has proven that to be the lord of the Arctic, you don't just need strength, you need patience, intelligence, and the ability to endlessly adapt. After humbling defeats and modest successes, our king continues his journey. But sometimes, in this harsh startup world, a stroke of luck can change everything. It's not just luck, it's a bailout package from the universe, an M&A deal that no one could have foreseen. And there it is, the greatest gift the ocean can offer, the carcass of a giant whale. For the polar bear, this isn't a meal. It's a gold mine, a treasure, a buffet that will last for months. It is the most significant economic event of the decade in the Arctic. News of this bankrupt company spreads faster than gossip on social media. The scent of opportunity travels for miles, and soon an emergency board meeting is convened. The CEOs from all over the region, creatures used to solitude and competition, now gather in one place. The atmosphere becomes tense. This is not a friendly get-together. This is a negotiation to divide a massive fortune. Every eye is wary, every movement calculated. Who will be the most powerful one here? Who will get the best share? And then the feast begins. A scene both gruesome and magnificent. The top predators of the Arctic rush in to liquidate the assets. Whale blubber, an incredibly precious source of energy, is what they all desire. It is the fuel for future hunts, the armor against the deadly cold. It is the future. Each bear is an investor, trying to claim the largest possible return. The once white faces are now stained red, not with shame, but with success. They eat voraciously, wasting nothing. In their world, waste is synonymous with death. But where there are assets, there are power struggles. A giant male bear, perhaps the majority shareholder, begins to assert his dominance. He growls, chasing away the smaller or weaker bears. This is the law of the market. The strongest sets the rules. The younger bears, the mid-level managers, must wait patiently on the sidelines. They know their place. One wrong move could cost them dearly, not just the meal, but possibly their lives. This is a harsh lesson in social hierarchy. The battle isn't just about slaps and bites. It's also a psychological war. The growls, the threatening postures, are all part of the negotiation. The lead male is saying, "This is my turf. I control this party." And amidst the power struggle of the big bosses, a new character appears. A small business facing its greatest challenge. It's a mother bear, leading her two small cubs. Her situation is incredibly perilous. She not only needs to feed herself, but she must also ensure the safety and sustenance for the future of her lineage. But how can a single mom startup founder compete in a market full of these aggressive giants? Every large male bear nearby is a potential threat. They could attack her cubs at any moment. Her mission now is not just about seeking profit, but about risk management at the highest level. She carefully leads her cubs closer to the feast, always keeping a safe distance. Her eyes never stop observing, analyzing the situation. She is looking for a gap, an opportunity to break into the market. And then a male bear approaches. A breathtakingly tense moment. The mother bear immediately assumes a defensive stance, ready to fight to the death to protect her young. This is no longer about business. This is about motherhood. Fortunately, the male is just passing by. The threat is temporarily neutralized. The mother bear has succeeded in getting her cubs to the food source. This is a great victory for her small business. For the first time in their lives, the cubs get to taste such a lavish meal. They eat deliciously, unaware of the risks their mother just faced. The lesson of a mother's sacrifice is written silently but powerfully. The feast continues. Bears come and go. The frozen kingdom, usually quiet and still, is now strangely noisy and bustling. This is a rare social event, an opportunity to meet, to conflict, and to survive. After they are full, our kings lie down to rest, a temporary truce. The hunger has been sated, and the battles can be put on hold for now. Seeing them lie there, one might forget they are the most ruthless predators on the planet. But it is only the calm before the next storm, in the never-ending battle for survival in the Arctic. After the bloody power struggles at the whale feast, our camera temporarily leaves the large, aggressive males to explore a completely different side of the frozen empire. We turn to the future of the kingdom, where the successor kings and queens are being shaped. Because after every fierce merger and acquisition in the corporate world, the most important thing is the succession plan. And here, after months hidden in a startup incubator beneath the snow, a new generation CEO, along with her two first products, make their debut to the world. Meet the mother bear and her two cubs. The cubs, small, clumsy, and full of curiosity, feel the sunlight for the first time, breathe the freezing Arctic air for the first time. To them, the world is a giant, white playground, full of new and strange things. But for the mother, this is the beginning of an enormous responsibility. She is no longer a lone predator. She is now a teacher, a bodyguard, a food provider, and the only shield between her children and the harshness of the outside world. The first lesson begins. The mother bear leads her cubs on their first journey across the ice. This is not a stroll. This is on-the-job training in the art of survival. The first lesson: how to walk on a surface that is slippery and can break beneath your feet at any moment. The cubs stumble and fall, looking quite comical. But every fall is a lesson. They are learning how to feel the ice, how to distribute their body weight. The mother patiently leads the way, not just showing the path, but setting an example. She constantly stops, lifts her head to sniff the air, teaching her cubs the second and most important lesson: vigilance. In this world, whoever loses their vigilance will pay the price. The cubs imitate their mother, also standing on their hind legs, trying to stretch taller to see farther, sniffing the air for the scent of seals or the scent of danger. They are loading data into their young processors. Motherhood in the Arctic is not expressed through sweet words. It is expressed through brutal survival lessons. But then, our camera shifts to an alarming reality, another hidden side in the life of this king. Summer arrives, and his kingdom is literally melting. The ice, the foundation of the entire ecosystem, has disappeared. His hunting ground has become a vast ocean. The polar bear is trapped on land. No ice, no seals. The royal predator now looks like an unemployed, tired, and hungry individual. He wanders the barren hills, a king without a kingdom. Hunger torments him, and he must turn to alternative food sources. He tries to eat seaweed, a dish not on the royal menu, providing insufficient calories, but it's better than nothing. Seeing the apex predator of the Arctic having to go vegan, we see his desperation and his incredible adaptability. This is the image of a CEO after a market crash, having to temporarily survive on instant noodles. Desperation drives him closer to another world, a world no less dangerous than the slippery ice floes, the world of humans. The bears are drawn by the smell of garbage from residential areas. A scene both tragic and ironic. The king of the Arctic, a symbol of strength and wildness, must now rummage through our trash to find leftovers. He is no longer a hunter, he has become a scavenger. This is the ultimate humiliation, a sad truth about the impact we are having on this planet. The confrontation between bears and humans is inevitable. It is not a war over territory, but a conflict born of desperation. The humans are scared, the bear is simply hungry. There is no right or wrong. There are only victims of a slowly disappearing kingdom. These images reveal a vulnerable hidden side of the ruler. The polar bear's strength is tied to the ice. When the ice melts, his power melts with it. He may be a king, but he cannot win against climate change. This is a battle he cannot win with strength, and that is the greatest tragedy of this lonely king. After enduring a humiliating summer and a catastrophic economic recession on land, the Frozen King's empire finally begins to be rebuilt. Winter is returning. For other creatures, this is the season of hardship and death. But for the polar bear, this is the season of revival. This is the time his empire is rebuilt, one snowflake at a time. The sea begins to freeze, creating a vast stage for the hunts to come. The freezing air is no longer an enemy, it is an ally. Our king walks on the new ice, each step a declaration of sovereignty. He is no longer the downtrodden scavenger. He has returned to his throne. Confidence has returned to his stride. He takes a deep breath, filling his lungs with the biting cold air. This is the smell of power, the smell of home. He can feel the vibrations of seals beneath the thick ice. The market has reopened, and our CEO is ready for a new business season. And while the kingdom is being reborn, its future is also taking shape. Our camera turns again to the queen and her little princes and princesses. The cubs, after their first bewildering months, are now a little bigger, a little more confident. The field training continues. The mother bear leads them to the water's edge, teaching them the next lesson in her Risk Management 101 Inches course, the art of swimming. The freezing water can kill an unprepared creature in minutes, but for them, this is a playground, a part of life. The cubs are hesitant at first, but seeing their mother's calmness, they gradually gather their courage. They plunge into the water, an act of absolute faith in their teacher. They splash around, learning to control their bodies in the new environment. These are the skills that will determine their survival in the future. And then, we are treated to majestic moments, shots that celebrate the absolute beauty of this king. A polar bear stands atop an iceberg, looking out at the endless ocean. He is not just admiring the view. He is surveying his empire, reviewing the quarterly reports written in the patterns of the waves and currents. A powerful shake, sending a cloud of snow glittering in the sunlight. He is not just shaking off snow. He is shaking off the failures, the hardships of the past summer. This is a symbolic act of rebirth, of leaving the past behind to face a new future. Look at those paws. They are not just paws. They are specialized platforms for moving on ice, weapons for taking down prey, and paddles for conquering the ocean. Every detail of his body is a masterpiece of creation, honed over millions of years of evolution to dominate this land. And then, in the final moments, we see him alone, walking towards the frozen horizon. The solitude no longer seems tragic. It has the look of absolute self-reliance. He doesn't need a pack. He doesn't need allies. He is an empire of one, a force of one. He walks, not to escape, but to conquer. Every step is a statement that no matter how the world changes, no matter if the ice melts, the spirit of this king will never be broken. He is the embodiment of strength, of persistence, and of an immortal will to survive. The circle of life continues. A new generation of cubs will be born in snow dens, carrying the legacy of their ancestors. They will learn the lessons of the hunt, of patience, of the never-ending battle between life and death. When night falls, if you are lucky, you might see the Arctic sky dance with the mystical aurora borealis. It seems like a coronation ceremony that nature holds exclusively for its king. The polar bear, he is not just an animal. He is an icon, a legend, a reminder that even at the ends of the earth, life fights on in the most resilient and magnificent way. He is the king of the frozen lands, today, tomorrow, and always. A lesson from the polar bear, the brutal price of the crown. After following the journey of the polar bear, we can see that being the ruler isn't a life of luxury, but a constant burden. The polar bear is the king of an empire with no palace, only endless drifting ice. Its crown isn't made of gold, it's woven from hunger and solitude. This video reveals a harsh truth: the greater the power, the more brutal the challenges. We see an apex predator with a surprisingly high failure rate. A king who can take down a seal, yet is helpless against a slippery cliff face or a defensive walrus herd. And the greatest tragedy of all, the one who can face any foe is now being defeated by an invisible enemy, the melting of its own kingdom.